Welcome back to BrainFLoTv / Hot Topics TV. If you've never been here before, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on BrainFLoTv. Over here we use our brain. That's why we're called BrainFLo. Okay? Now, this is our prediction for the outcome of the Sean P. Diddy Combs trial. They're about to find Diddy guilty on some charges. They're about to find him not guilty because the state did not present enough evidence on other charges. What I'm predicting, I want you to come back to this video after sentencing to say I was wrong or whatever. Here's what I feel is about to happen. Diddy's about to get hit with time served. For the amount of time that he has been incarcerated already, they're going to chalk it up to time served. He's going to get put on probation as well. He will now have a criminal record of someone that has been convicted. However, for the more serious charges that could have landed him in jail for decades, he is not going to get those. He's going to beat those charges. See, I feel like somebody actually really is in that big position of power who sat Diddy down. Sit your ass down, boy. And remember, no matter how rich you get, no matter how much power you generate, we are still in control and we are still more powerful than you are, and we run this. It's kind of like one of those, you're getting too big for your bridges. Somebody yank his coat. Somebody grab him by the neck. Bring him over here. Let me put him in his place. I think that's what happened to Diddy. Because honestly, I'm looking at the whole case, and the only thing I could come up with after going through this whole thing is that there is something that is called accountability that the justice system needs to be teaching adults, especially women. Accountability. If I meet a girl online and I say to her, I live in a beautiful state of Florida, I live close to the beach, I have a beach condo, when you look out my balcony, you see the beach. You can literally jump off my balcony and walk on the beautiful white sandy beach right here in sunny Florida, and she lives in bumfuck New Jersey, and I slide into her DMs because she's shaking ass on Instagram, and I say, yo, let me fly you out. You come spend a week with me at this nice location right here, right? Right away, that young lady should think I'm probably gonna have to suck dick and give up some coochie when I get there, because ain't no man spending thousands of dollars to fly you out, to keep you fed and entertained for a whole week at some beautiful location just for free. There's got to be something in exchange, right? And like our grandmother always tell our sisters and our girl cousins, if you don't want nothing from that man, if you don't have nothing to give to that man, if you don't want a relationship with that man, don't take that man things. That's something that's taught in our community from we were very young, from before we even started dating. We heard them telling the older girls in our community, if you don't want a relationship with that man, do not take anything from that man. Don't even take $1 from him, because no man gives anything to a woman without expecting anything in return. That's a lesson, right? And if you check it out, in Diddy's case, they trying to charge him for trafficking Cassie and trafficking Jane, which we know to be 50 Cent's baby mama. Trafficking? How do you traffic someone that you are in a relationship with that lasts for years? A relationship where this person considers you their significant other. A relationship where you pay all that person's bills. A relationship where you had that person living in luxury. It's not even like Diddy was paying their bills, but they were living in shambles, or they were living in a hood somewhere, or even they were living in like a regular community. They live in luxury on his dime. The house is $30,000, $40,000 a month. Plus you get an extra $10,000 every 30 days just to go shopping because all the bills are paid. Shorty says she asked Diddy for birthday money, $15,000. $15,000 for birthday money. He said, what you want that $15,000 for? She said, oh, I just want to buy a nice dress and go out to eat. And then she confessed in court that he took her out to eat to the place where she wanted to go, and he paid for the dinner. So the only thing she had to do with the $15,000 he gave her, because he gave it to her, was to buy a nice dress so she could wear for the evening. That's it. That's it. That's crazy. So after that came the freak off. She claimed in court she was mad because he turned her birthday evening into a freak off. She wanted to stay and enjoy more of the evening with her friends because it was her birthday. And the same thing that Cassie said. On the other hand, you look at Diddy. Diddy knows that they like the freak off. That's why Cassie texted and said, I'm always ready for a freak off. And there were other text messages where Cassie was saying, I can't wait till we do our next freak off. Or the other one where she said, you know, babe, I'm just sitting here horny, just thinking about a freak off, a FO. She would call it a FO. So how the hell is that trafficking? How is that trafficking? They need to teach these women accountability. The truth of the matter is, you got with a man who was rich, famous than any other man you had ever known. But he was freakier than any other man you had ever known also. And he liked doing weird shit. Like watching you get ran through by another dude with a big dingling. The average woman would never be turned on by that. First of all, she would have been like, yo, this for a regular dude? You can't pay her bills. You don't give her $10,000 a month to go shopping. You don't put her in a $30,000 a month house out in some exclusive community. You don't bring her to gatherings where all A-list celebrities gather. You can't put nothing like that in her life, and you trying to tell her, hey, babe, I want to see you get effed by another man. Man, listen, it's not happening, okay? It ain't happening. But for the fact that Diddy was able to do all that, they wanted that. They enjoyed that. They enjoyed the trips to these Caribbean islands, these exotic location vacations. They enjoyed the all expense paid lifestyle. They enjoyed the private jets, the mansions. They enjoyed the exclusivity of that type of a lifestyle. Being in the company of a star, a mega multi-millionaire star. They enjoyed it. And they had to pay a price because nothing comes for free. So that's all that they did. Now, the problem, I think, is when he chose somebody else to go public with, instead of choosing them to go public, is where the problems happen. It was like Cassie said, on the stand, in the court. She wanted so much more from Diddy. They asked her, what did she mean? She wanted a relationship with him. She wanted to be his woman. She wanted to be the one who he had children with. She wanted to be the one who was seen on his arm. She wanted to be Mistress Combs. But for Diddy, she was just that freaky ass girl who liked to take drugs with him, get high with him, and do freaky shit for him to please him. And she wanted more than that. And because he chose somebody else, she was mad as shit, so it was time for her to get her lick back. Same thing for 50 Cent's baby mama. 50 Cent's over there laughing at her, calling her a little sex slave, and saying he's going to get full custody of his son from her. So she has to make it look like she was manipulated and she's a victim. She has a lot to lose. She has her son to lose, custody off. Because if she makes it look like this is the type of lifestyle she partook in, she's the slave, sex slave of a wealthy man, and he hires multiple men to have sex with her. There was one time where she testified in court that on one particular night, she got ran through by 4 dudes. And Diddy was the 4th person. So 3 other dudes hit it before Diddy got to it. And what she enjoyed the most about that night was, after all that, she was able to cuddle and fall asleep in Diddy's arms. Now you trying to tell me that you so in love with this man, right? That he hired 4 or 3 other men to fuck you, and you go through it just so you could get to him, for him to hold you so you could go to sleep in his arms. Miss me with that bullshit. Miss me with that bullshit. She knew what she had to do to maintain that lifestyle that she was living. The girl don't work. She don't have a job. She doesn't have a business. She said at one time she pitched a business idea to Diddy, and Diddy gave her $20,000 and said, go ahead and start it up. And she blew the $20,000. She went fucking shopping with it. Why? Probably because she knew that she could get $20,000 more from him. Because after all, she was still getting another $10,000 a month. And this was her trying to defend how she's living. Because people were like, man, if you're doing all that for $10,000 a month, you might as well could have worked for yourself. She was like, that's not all I got, though. He spent a lot of money on the house that I live in. He still pays for it to this day. Plus, all my bills are paid. Plus, I get $10,000 per month to go shopping. Plus, I got other stipends that I get. My birthday came around, for instance. I asked for $15,000. I got that. He still paid for the dinner anyways. He flew me out to some exotic island and gave her a $100,000 spending limit to go on a shopping spree. This is not somebody that you are trafficking. You don't traffic a bitch and send her on a $100,000 shopping spree. So the only way they could find Diddy guilty of the more serious charges, to me, is if the jury is biased. Let's not forget, they played a dirty card right before this whole case came to an end. Right before this whole trial came to an end, they played a dirty, dirty card. The dirty card was to find the individual among the jurors who looks like he could be a problem for the prosecution. He could cause this trial to end in a mistrial, or he could sway other jurors to come over to his side, and they get a no guilty all the way across the board. And that's that 41-year-old who was born and raised in the Bronx, who is from that era, and his favorite type of music is 90s hip-hop. They made sure they removed his ass from the jury pool 6 weeks into the trial. At the beginning of the 7th week, by the way. And the trial lasted for 7 weeks. And who did they replace him with? They replaced him with a white boy, or a white man, 52 years old, or 54 years old rather, from out in the suburbs, upstate, who is an engineer with a master's degree. Very highly unlikely that he is a rap fan, hip-hop fan, a Diddy fan, or even has black friends. And I'm not talking about black friends that you meet at work. I'm not talking about your work associates. I'm talking about friends. Friends that come over to your house for dinner. Friends whose children play with your children. And if your son ended up dating his daughter or vice versa, you wouldn't have a problem with it because that's your good friend. I bet he doesn't have any of those in his life. And that's the type of person they replaced with for this jury. So don't be surprised if the verdict comes back guilty. They know what they were doing. The goal is to find him guilty. I just cannot see how a jury in good conscience, if this is a jury of his peers, because we still don't know how many black people are on it. We still don't know what the demographics of these people are that are on the jury. But if I can't see in good conscience this jury coming up with guilty all across the board, clean cut, and allowing this man to go away for decades behind bars. I don't know. So that's my prediction. My prediction is that Diddy will be found guilty. I'm hoping he doesn't get found guilty on anything. Because I don't think this was a RICO case. I honestly think that this case was a domestic case. And since Cassie already got her 20-30 million and skated off into the sunset, I think the rest of this should be dropped. This is also like double jeopardy. She got 20 mil from fucking with Puffy, and now he's gonna get found guilty and serve jail time from fucking with her? Nah. And that was a relationship that was gone bad. 11 years relationship. Most people out here have not been in a relationship for 11 years. Or have not had a relationship that lasted 11 years. So with that said, I definitely think they're about to find him guilty on something that's soft. And he'll get time served and then be released. Kind of like what happened in the Young Thug trial. Because Brian Steele is really good at negotiating that part of the deal, right? And then he won't be found guilty on the more serious charges. If he gets found guilty on the more serious charges, though, and it's the end of Diddy because they're sending him away for decades, then damn. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. I'll catch you on the next video. It's BrainFLoTv. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and come right back to this video after the verdict is read. Let's talk about it. I'm out. Peace.